Wikipedia. Failure is the state or condition of not meeting a desirable or intended objective and may be viewed as the opposite of success. We all fear failure. This is in our blood. We don't take a new job or start a business because we are afraid that we will fail and then we will starve to death. We don't go out and meet new people because we are afraid that they will not like us and this hurts. We don't because we are afraid that we will fail. Any fear is related to our survival instinct, which is the strongest one that we have. And this is normal from evolutionary perspective. Without fear, we would not be here today as a species. The problem with the fear of failure is that it is not rational, because failure is not a threat. We just look at it in a bad light. And the only thing that we have to do is to change the way we view failure, to change the glasses of the worst thing that can happen to me to the best thing that can happen for me. And if we go back to Wikipedia, failure is not the opposite of success. Failure is the name of the material from which success is built. The more material you add, the bigger and stronger the success. Of course, there is one important condition to be met. We have to learn from our failures and not just repeat the same mistake over and over again. This kind of material is called stupidity, and it is used for shaping out some other things, which I assume you'll not be interested in. Failure is so important. We speak only about success all the time. But if we avoid failure, we also avoid success. Let's stop looking at it as a dreadful thing and start willing it to happen, as this is the only progress indicator. If we don't fail, it means we are not learning anything new and not progressing. Actually, we are failures by default. When we are born, we don't know anything and have no skills. We learn to eat, to walk, to talk, and all these skills are gained through failures. I don't think there has ever existed a single baby who started walking confidently on 2 feet without falling at least a few times. Imagine if the baby's mind would be flooded with all those thoughts that we adults have daily. What would he think after a few falls and crying? Well, I guess walking is not for me. I'll skip this part. Apparently I'm not good at it. That would sound really weird. Or let's say you can't dance, which is absolutely normal if you have never previously tried to. And you always avoid dancing because you are afraid that you'll make a fool of yourself. Basically, you are afraid that you'll fail, so you don't even try, which is safe and no failure for you. But let me tell you something, you fail anyhow, because you still can't dance. And you abstain yourself from great pleasure of connecting on a high energetic level with other human beings. And you tell yourself things like, anyhow I don't like this song, I don't dance that type of music, or I'm really tired. Which, if you'll be willing to recognize to yourself, are just lies and excuses. Only when you start exposing yourself and be willing to make a fool of yourself. And this is how you see things, because usually people don't pay attention to how you dance, they are too busy thinking how others are perceiving them. So only when you expose yourself and start making first awkward dance steps, and with every missed beat you gain understanding and experience, and this is then from failure, and through failure you are moving to pleasure and success. And there is nothing that can compare to this feeling. We always start anything new from the position of failure. And this is true for every single human being on this planet. And the only difference between successful and unsuccessful people is that the first ones are willing to get out there, do things and look stupid. And the more often they can do it, the happier they are. And unsuccessful people will avoid at all costs the situations which will expose that they are not good at something, anything. But when we give ourselves permission to fail, we at the same time give ourselves permission to grow, to learn, to excel. Recently I was teaching 2 of my kids to bike. And when I say teaching them to bike, I mean running behind them and holding the bike, hoping that they will figure out how to keep balance before I collapse. They are twins, a boy and a girl. First there was my son, who at the first feeling that he's the one who is actually willing, after just a minute, shouted to leave him alone, which I immediately did. And after 10 minutes and at least 5 spectacular falls, and of course a little crying, he was already biking fairly confidently. Then there was my daughter's turn. For me, that was the toughest endurance workout that I can remember. After 1 hour and a half of running along the bike, I started praying for mercy. The moment I was gently releasing the saddle to try to leave her on her own, she was screaming to hold her tight as she is not ready yet. After almost 2 hours, we finally did it, without a single fall or bruise, which is great. But it took her 10 times more. And I don't mean to make a comparison between boys and girls or characters, we are all very different. What I want to point out is the different mindset with which they approached the learning. The one who is willing to fall more often is the one who is improving much faster. And don't think that the boy was not afraid. He was really aroused and anxious, but he didn't let this stop him from what he wanted to achieve. His desire was bigger than his fear. Basically, success is just having failures one after another and not giving up. If you want to be a great basketball player, you must first miss thousands and thousands of shots. If you want to become a famous chef, you must first do a ton of disgusting meals. If you want to become an excellent piano player, first you will drive crazy your family and neighbors for a while. Of course, just failing is not the key. The key is to be systematically learning from failures, to be closely monitoring what's working and making good use of that information. Let's say you always forget people's name after the first time meeting them. And who is not guilty of this? Oh God, how did he say his name was? Rob, Bob, or Caroline? So we have a problem, and as far as we don't learn from it, the same outcome will happen over and over. And we will never connect deeply with somebody because it is difficult to focus on someone who is constantly asking you, "Could you please remind me your name?" And we may think for ourselves, "I'm just not good at it," or "There are so many and I'm just one," which won't help you at all, and you will continue to do the same thing because living in society will expose you to encounters with new people, and you will continue the same pattern again and again. So you have a problem, and this is great, you can grow on it. If you would perceive it for what the fail actually is, just a neutral feedback that shows you that you are doing something wrong, and see what you can do about it, without any personal traits or characteristics like "I'm such an idiot" or "I'm just born like this." After some basic research, you may find out that by being more present in the moment and applying some simple memory association techniques may help you to easily remember every single person's name that you will ever meet. Doesn't this sound great? The fail, over time, will magically transform into a fantastic asset. You will easily connect with anyone thanks to a habit that you have acquired, and now you can effortlessly remember names. It's a fantastic skill to be able to see failure for what it is, a learning opportunity. Don't take anything personal, look at the facts and think how you can improve the situation. All the successful people failed greatly before arriving to their success, and they continue to do so. In the 60s and 70s, there was an exceptional football player called Gerd Müller, who is famous for many different records, but one really stands out and remains unbeatable till today. It is for being an all-time top scorer of Bundesliga, the German National Football League. Nobody else ever scored more goals than he did, not previous, not after him. But the funny thing is that there is an anti-record of the most missed shots in Bundesliga. And guess who holds this anti-record? Gerd Müller. One thing is certain here, this man never feared to make a shot. He took his every chance, and you know the result. You have to be prepared to be wrong and not give a damn about it. This life is an experiment, and there are no failed experiments. There are just experiments with unexpected results. And these unexpected results are the most precious what we have. This is the fee that we pay for entering the event. After you achieve your goal through a series of mistakes and failures, you will be proud not of the skills or the object that you have acquired, but of what it took you to be there, all the pain and difficulties that you have gone through, that made you who you are today. In time, the skills may fade away being unused. The object may lose its previous attractiveness for you, but the memory of what it took you to get there will never leave you. And what is this life but a series of memory pearls that we collect on our necklace? Remember, failure is just a simple plain mistake, and we do plenty of them every day. And if we want to be successful, we should be eager to do many, many, many more. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you found it useful, and I wish you all the best.